What's up, guys? We're in the garage, which, if you've been paying attention, means there's no tent on the top of the Jeep because we don't fit in here normally. So it's the first time I've been in the garage for a year with the Jeep, and the tent is off. The reason why is we're replacing the rack that we've been using. When we first installed this exposed rack bar system on our Jeep JK, I was skeptical that it was going to work as a long-term solution for our rooftop tent for a couple of reasons, and that definitely ended up being the case. It just bounces too much and rattles, and it's not up for the task of a rooftop tent. The size of ours, granted, we have one of the larger ones on the market. I'm excited that we're going to be installing a cage style rack on the Jeep. So this is going to be like the kind that doesn't touch the roof at all. It actually has bars that come down and anchor to the frame and the cowl at the front. Super heavy duty. It's no more rattling in the Jeep. Thump, 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 thump. Every time we go over a bump. And I'm trying to get it done really fast because, as you know, we are getting ready to do a long trip in the Jeep down to Big Bend National Park in Texas. So we're leaving in like pretty much a week from today. So yeah, I'm gonna start working on getting this rack installed. And then we've got a cool new bonus thing once the new rack is on that I'll be showing you a little bit later. Step one, gotta take the rear bumper off and start building this rack. I'm excited to get to do it in the garage because just like the last time I installed a roof rack, it's a rainy day here on Wilder Mountain. So good day for garage work. Okay, the old exposed rack system is off. It's so weird to see the Jeep so naked. And the next step is to take the bumper off the back here because the mount points for the new rack are actually behind where the bumper goes to the frame down there. Now we're installing a Smittybilt SRC rack. It's a cage rack that goes around the Jeep like an exoskeleton. It's actually not compatible with the factory bumper as a bolt-on component. You either have to cut the end of the bumper off or cut a hole for it to go through, or replace your rear bumper with a bumper that doesn't wrap around the corner of the Jeep like this one does. I've already replaced the front bumper. The stock bumpers are plastic. We'd like a better step to step on back here when we're getting up to the roof. So we want to put a steel bumper back here. We're not going to do that before this trip. So I've decided that I'm just going to take the rear bumper off and roll without a rear bumper for a couple months until we find the right rear bumper for us, order it, get a good deal, all that sort of stuff. Not the hardest bolts I've taken out on this thing by a long shot. I don't expect this to be a difficult install, but it did have me thinking that I should remind you, in case we haven't said it lately, this is not a how to do it channel. This is a what we did channel. So if you want a how to do it channel, the manufacturer has a video, several of the retailers have videos, it's a Smittybilt thing. Go watch a how-to video. This is a what I did video. Now I did just say that this is not a how-to channel, but save you some pain if you are following along with me. You use the big washers on the front here. That makes sense. You gotta distribute all this force across the plate. The little washers are not the ones. They don't do a very good job. But like literally in one spot in the instructions just says 8mm washer, which is the diameter of the inner. But then there's a different spot, it says thick washer. Well, they're all thick. But there was a different spot, one spot that I noticed that it said 8mm by 24mm outer diameter. There's a bunch of different diameter ones. I had to break my calipers out and find the 24 ones. So it's coming off. Face.
And it's like so many big brown things on it.
Uh-huh.
And he just looks like he's gonna die.
Did I let the shit out of it? Sorry to hear about it. Hook off? That freaking sucks. Guess I'm taking the toe hook off. God damn. Come on. Yes. Now that's a Jeep bolt. We're stuck. Guys, look what I found in the shed. Ultimate cheater bar. Well, it's still slow, but it's gonna save my arm. Y'all gotta get out of the way though. Oh my lord. This thing. Yes. Yes. Well, the battery died on the camera last night while I was finishing the install on this, and I decided to just get it done. I think it looks awesome. It came out great. I had a little bit of trouble with this Smittybilt SRC rack. Some of the hardware, well, first of all, it's not very well labeled, and so I used screws that were too long in one spot and didn't have enough in another spot. I mean, the difference is just millimeters. After resolving all that and figuring out that I had one plate that I was struggling with, I think it's the last thing you saw, that actually the nut plate was welded badly and there was no way a screw was ever going to thread into it. It was just misaligned. So worked around all that and I'm happy. I've already taken it for a couple of drives and it's pretty great. I mean, it's totally silent compared to how noisy the last one was bouncing around on the roof. It feels like it's not even there. So like, don't notice the weight of it. Of course, I haven't put the tent on back on yet, but even the last rack was 60, 70 pounds. This thing's like 160 and it feels exactly the same. So I feel good about that. So we got some people coming tomorrow to help me hoist the tent back up on top of it. And then we get to the kind of special edition, the new thing that we're adding back with this rack, which I will reveal now to be a 270-degree batwing awning that will go on this side and wrap around the back. Give us some shelter while we're camping to sit, even if we're in an unsheltered open spot like we're going to be out in the desert. And pretty excited about that. Now, it's got 4 cross members that we can put on top of it. I've only put 2 on because I kind of made that mistake with the last rack. All the crossbars on my old rack that were actually well anchored down were on the front, and so it's kind of hard to describe, but the point is that there was one crossbar in the middle under the tent that the tent wasn't clamped to, and that was where a lot of the vibration and bouncing sounds came from. So I only put 2. I've only got 2 sets of clamps for the tent, so I've only got 2 crossbars up there spaced out for the tent. I have hole patterns up and down the whole rack to install those other 2 crossbars wherever we want, including right at the front and the back. So I might end up putting those back on there after we get the tent mounted, if there's room on either the front or the back, to add just another attachment point for anything else we might want to put up there. So stick around, we'll get the tent back on here and then we'll install that next and try it out. Okay, we had some friends and family come by to help us get the tent back on. I think it looks awesome. It just really balances out the size of that rack. The tent is sitting probably about 3 inches higher than it used to, which is kind of crazy. So now we're gonna put this awning up on it. I'm gonna mount the brackets and it should be a pretty easy job. I did have to go to the hardware store and get a different size U-bolt than what came with the OVS awning, just to fit the diameter of this tube. So I'm mostly reusing the rest of the hardware though.
Instead of taking it, I'm taking pieces home. And you could say I'm far beyond control. As of late, it's substance to my soul. Every day is a play in an opera hall. Someone say, I forgot my role. Brown bags and I stay at the stepping stone. And every day is a window that you know.
Oh, it's landed. Uh-oh. Oh no. It's really tricky to get those U-bolts tight enough to keep it from rolling around the bar. And I've only got these shallow sockets and they were really long on top, so I was trying to use a crescent wrench. I ended up just getting my multi-tool out for the metal blade and cutting those bolts off so I could get I only have short sockets. I need to get some long, deep sockets. Anyway, I feel like you really put the muscle on it. It's super tight now. I was able to get my ratchet on. Here, you walk with it. I want to see if it rotates at all. Just take that all the way around. Oh yeah. Full extension, no budging.
Is it a batwing awning?
It's a batwing awning. Dang, that looks great. Right? And you can just...
Yeah, that's it's not like it's gonna take much. Right there on the rack.
Oh my gosh, it's like opening a circus.
I don't think so.
I guess if it's like windy.
I feel like if it's that windy, we need to abort, you know, on the awning altogether. Check it out, guys. We're gonna pack it all away and move to a level spot. Make sure that we'll open the tent, make sure the tent can clear it. And I wanna make sure that when we're level, I don't have it rotated badly such that it drains backward on the Jeep. Because right now, it looks like it would go uphill, but we're gonna pack it up. How cool is this? I wanted to get this before Big Bend because, you know, it's different than camping for the weekend. If we're on the road for a week and living out of the Jeep, like, we still gotta eat if it rains. We gotta be able to get into the kitchen without all of our clothes getting wet and have a place to like actually set up even if there's not the best weather in the world. So we're gonna take this thing for a drive test. We just added like 300 pounds of stuff on the Jeep. And a lot of it's up high. So yeah, we're gonna see how it drives now. All right, we're drive testing. And I know it's gonna be quiet.
I am already buckled.
Oh, good.
Me too.
I thought, you know, it's not that significant a weight we're adding with the awning. Standing there and holding it up for 10 minutes made me feel otherwise about how heavy that awning was.
It's just a really awkward height for
Yeah.
holding your arms up. Because you couldn't lock your arms. I don't know. I don't have any arm strength, so.
Silence.
Not a sound.
Not a sound. It's pretty quiet. I don't know if it comes through on camera. There's this one very minor metal sound.
In this corner.
Yeah. Might tension those bolts.
On there too?
Tents up there. Awnings on there.
Racks on there?
All right, so overall it sounds good. We definitely started with a little bit of a squeak and we ended with a lot more of a squeak, but there's just so many joints and so many things flexing under load that are kind of settling into place. And I had read that that was pretty common with this rack. So I'm just gonna sit out here and take a ratchet to every bolt, tighten it up, take it for another spin around the block. I'll spare you all that, but hopefully we'll get all the squeaks out of this thing, and then maybe tomorrow I'll deploy the full setup and we'll give you guys the tour.
Thank you so much for watching. We are packing the Jeep right now. We're gonna be living out of it for 10 days. We're headed to Big Bend National Park. It's gonna be an awesome trip. So make sure you click subscribe so you can see all of this stuff in action.